there is a darkness upon the land. A savior is needed.
Who are you?
The man who'll kill Dracula.
And it's only 4 episodes. It's too damn short!
It's time to play the game. Time to play the game! It's all about the game, and how you play it. All about control, and if you can take it. All about your debt, and if you can pay it. It's all about pain, and who's gonna make it? I am the game, you don't wanna play me. I am control, no way you can shake me. I am heavy debt, no way you can pay me. I am the pain, and I know you can't take me. Look over your shoulder, ready to run.
So, Castlevania 2 was deemed too much of a departure from what people were used to. So with the third installment, Konami went back to the formula that made the first game successful. This was also the game that the Castlevania series on Netflix is based on, which, if you haven't seen it yet, what the hell are you waiting for? Yeah, it's only 4 episodes, but still pretty damn good. Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse was released in 1990, and despite being the third game of the series, is actually a prequel to the first game. As such, it follows Simon's great-grandfather Trevor Belmont, known as Ralph in Japan. Now, why the name change? Was Ralph just not as cool a name as Trevor? Either way, most people liked what they saw, so let's take a look and see what we've got. If we wait a little bit at the title screen, we get this game's only bit of story, talking about how the Belmont family was excommunicated from the Kingdom of Wallachia, but the people called them back out of desperation when Dracula's hordes became too much. Now, it could just be an early NES translation, but I swear it was written by a 4-year-old kid. The story is more or less the same as the first game, Kill Dracula. With that said, Trevor's got the same moveset as Simon, Civ Jump included. He can swing his whip, use sub-weapons with hearts returning his ammunition, and can recruit 3 buddies to help him in his quest. Of course, he has to deal with a boss fight before he can, but these 3 friends include a pirate named Grant Dynasty,
Being a pirate is horrid to be. Do what you want, 'cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
a sorceress named Sif, about not is, yes, Sif is a woman, and like with Metroid, they try to play her up as a man until the end.
Do you believe in magic in a young girl's heart?
And lastly, there's a Dampier named Adrian Fahrenheit Tepesh, otherwise known as Alucard.
Sup?
You can only bring 1 buddy with you at a time, and you can swap between them with a simple press of the select button. Each one of them has their own unique abilities. For instance, Grant can actually control his jumps in the air, but he can also cling to walls and ceilings, making some platforming challenges a bit of a joke. Cypher can make use of magical attacks such as fire, ice, and electricity, the latter of which can make absolute mincemeat of some of the more annoying bosses. And lastly, there's Alucard. Yes, that Alucard. He doesn't have all the moves you'll eventually get, just these things that the game calls his balls of destruction, and he can turn into a bat to bypass the more difficult platforming sections at the cost of 1 heart per second. Now you may think that the game is once again set simply within the castle, but no. For one thing, the castle has a different layout than the first game. There is a difference, but we'll find that out in a later game. Back to what I was saying, half of the game is just getting to the castle itself, and that's where you'll encounter your 3 friends. Every once in a while you'll come to a fork in the road. Whichever path you take is entirely up to you, since all paths lead to the castle. The castle itself is full of many of the same monsters who've harassed Simon in the first game, along with quite a few bosses. This Cyclops-looking motherfucker will give you a lot of trouble if you're not using Cypher's electric orbs. In the later levels, some of the smaller monsters like the returning Medusa heads and the godforsaken Fleamen, who were only doing 1 point of damage in the earlier levels, are now taking off up to 1/3 of your health. You know it's bad when death only does 1 point of damage in both forms. Speaking of the multiform bosses, Dracula is once again a multiform boss, but he has 3 forms now instead of 2. The first form once again shoots fireballs and likes to teleport like spam like a fucking tool. The second form is this demonic execute looking thing that cries bloody tears, which reminds me of something I'll get to in a bit. The third and final form is this bird thing that shoots lasers out of its eyes. Now who the hell designed this thing? Same 4-year-old kid who wrote the intro? Well, after being Dracula, you get one of 3 endings showing the castle crumbling while Trevor and whichever buddy you happen to have with you at the time watching. Now, about what Dracula's second form reminded me of. I realize I've been neglecting to talk about one thing that most people really like about this series. The music. Composers like Hidenori Maezawa created such awesome pieces for these games. Beginnings, Wicked Child, Vampire Killer, Bloody Tears, really every tune is a fucking amazing piece of composition. Bloody Tears itself has become one of the forefront songs in the series since its debut in the second game. And much like the first game, this game is hard. I mean, really hard. Once again, if it exists, it wants Trevor and his friends dead. Deader than dead. It wants to make it so that they never existed. I have heard of people dying upwards of 100 times during a single playthrough. But there is a way you can mitigate that. All you have to do is go to the password screen and type in the phrase "help me" at the start of the game with 10 lives instead of 3. That's it. Help me. One word. Like bullshit. Despite being hard as fuck, Castlevania 3 sold relatively well in the NES and the Famicom over in Japan. I was just picking up if you're interested, but be prepared to have your ass handed to you.
Thus ends the NES trilogy for the classic Castlevania series. But we're not quite done with the Belmonts yet. Okay, yeah, obviously there's Rondo of Blood, but the next time we meet, we're going to jump ahead in console generation to the Super Nintendo for Super Castlevania 4. I'll see you then.
Dracula, I am back, you love to lay the smacula. Like great grandpa Trevor, whipping hearts, inhaling zombie farts. I'll find your body parts so I can put you back together. I'll race all over the place, and when I find your face, I'm gonna slip as back as make as back. I got your nose, and I found your toes, and your elbows, and your tiny penis. Oh my God, it's so tiny. How'd you ever have sex with this thing? Yeah, Dracula, I will attack you, bruh. You'll be spectacular. When I set you on fire, Drac appears every 100 years, but he'll cry bloody tears and wish he never was a vampire. I'll race all over the place, and when I find his face, I'm gonna sit as back as make as make. I'll amass his balls of brass, and when I find his ass, I'm gonna kick it. I'll race all over the place, and when I find your face, hey, you Drac, I got you in a sack. You better watch your back, cause I'm a vampire killer. Ha ha ha, bam.
And he's out! No! Why'd you do that again? Because I can't control my jumps in mid-fucking air! You stupid fuck!